Welcome to the story of how I conquered Calradia using only bandit and other non-recruitable troops in 72 years. We will be playing as Noah the Drowned, a Nordic barbarian with the blackest skin, the brightest hair, cursed runes carved into his face, and a body tall as a mountain. When he was only a boy, his villagers threw him into the sea, believing him cursed, as it was their first time seeing a black person. Days passed, yet he did not sink, he did not drown, which was unfortunate for everyone involved. He was rescued by pirates and raised as one of their own, but his mind never fully recovered. Noah began having visions of Calypso, the goddess of the sea. He fell in love with her, and the sea was hungry. Feeding it became his mission. Years later, at the age of 20, Noah returned to his homeland to finish what destiny demanded: maximum difficulty, death and aging, along with fast mode enabled. We're using Fourberie, Death for All, and Perfect Executioner to make the world as brutal as possible. And since Noah is the enemy of every realm, we start with everyone declaring war on us. Our first three objectives: make enough money to buy our first ship, find enough bandits to fill our crew, reach 250 throwing, which doesn't take that much time thanks to fast mode. Every focus point goes into throwing, and we start attacking nearby looter parties. Choosing the Warchild of the North option in character creation lets us start with one stack of North javelins, which is enough to one-shot most low-tier units with enough speed. The problem is, we only have 5 of them, but by retreating and re-engaging, we can infinitely refill them as long as our health doesn't go below 20%. Why not attack villagers instead like a proper bandit, you ask? Well, because every villager in Calradia is incredibly precise at rock throwing, to the point that Noah gets stoned harder than Elon Musk inside the White House. And with the addition of slingshots to the game, it seems looters now have significantly fewer ranged units. Yes, they deal more damage, but at least the rocks aren't raining from the sky anymore. Since we cannot enter towns yet, the loot from the looters is sold to villages instead. I convert their survivors to my party, but they are utterly useless. What we need is capturing real bandits. I attack forest bandits and draw their attention with my shield raised high while my looters close in. But seeing how close to defeat I was, even against a group of 6, made me realize it's best to stay away from them. I try my luck against mountain bandits. Just like Noah, they are throwing enthusiasts. The trick is simple: deal with their cavalry first, then wait until the shielded units run out of javelins. The rest are slingshot users who aren't more dangerous than looters. But if we recruit them, they can become those badass javelin throwers. After beating their second party, we loot one of their javelins, doubling our ammo. Noah was visibly happier. But just as things were looking bright, a sturgeon patrol caught us, many high-tier troops among them. Fighting was pointless. All the loot, recruits and prisoners were lost, but it was best to save our health for our escape. That same night, Noah got rid of his chains and slew the guard with his tiny dagger. Then he disguised himself with the guard's armor. He could have simply walked toward the gate and escaped, but he chose to slaughter all the guards instead, farming his roguery skill. Right after we left the city, a sturgeon hoe caught us, and Noah was chained again before even stretching his legs. The guards were now watching him closely after his first escape, but a couple of days later, he escaped on his own. Then it was time to try our luck against steppe bandits. All of them were mounted, but without any shields or resistant armor. Cavalry was helpless against Noah's javelins, and horse archers weren't fast enough to outrange him forever. We captured the survivors, but then Noah started hallucinating his dead soldiers trying to clip coins, forgetting he was all alone in these harsh lands. He taught the ghosts how to clip coins more efficiently, gaining more roguery XP and the devious trait. More bandits fell. Then I spotted a deserter party of 17, mostly low-tier infantry. I recruited my only raider prisoner and attacked. They weren't equipped to deal with a man such as Noah and were easily defeated. I didn't take them as prisoners though, as they still count as recruitable troops. More slaughter follows. Then I start attacking villager parties, circling them like a naked cannibal. Once again, Noah hallucinated the ghost of his soldiers. They demanded more money. Somehow, giving them money makes us earn more money. I guess Odin was testing the generosity of Noah or something. Then I spotted an imperial patrol of 6. Normally, they would be the hunters and we the prey, as the lowly bandits we are. but it seems they were weakened by a recent skirmish. Their defeat earned us a crossbow worth 4,000 dinars, too expensive to sell to villagers. Thankfully, we managed to catch a caravan and sold it for 3,000. After more battles, Noah reached 225 throwing. This one is important. I know being able to grab items from horseback sounds cool, but the other perk, a 25% bonus to the travel speed of throwing weapons, does way more than it sounds like. Basically, it snowballs the damage, since in Bannerlord everything is about speed. It can be the difference between one-shooting a cataphract or wasting another ammo for his remaining 3 health. Then, it was time to beat the shit out of our fellow colleagues, Sea Raiders. Without the 250 Impale perk, their massive shields take 2 javelins to break. Manageable as long as their numbers stay low. Unfortunately, they don't. Noah was cornered by 25 bandits, 10 Sea Raiders, 15 looters. First, I circled them with my shield raised, forcing the raiders to waste their javelins. Then I eliminated the looters. No shields, no mercy. Once I was out of ammo, I retreated and re-engaged. Same strategy. Shields break, next follow. The slaughter continues. After 2 hours of pure grinding, our first objective is finally complete. Sea Raiders were a piece of cake to deal with right now, and Noah earned a nice looking mail shirt. More Sea Raiders fell, and survivors were captured for recruitment. Though it was kinda hard, as Noah's javelins were unnecessarily lethal. Still, we now had 5 raiders on our side, but to complete our second task, finding enough crew, we needed a more reliable way. With the Fourberie mod, we can become allies with bandits after donating them enough prisoners and loot. But those greedy fucks aren't easy to satisfy, and we needed to find lots of loot before they started handing us their troops. So I started attacking mountain bandits, as killing them doesn't decrease our relations with the Sea Raiders. Then 2-step bandit parties, totaling 30 men, attacked us. Noah kited their cavalry by circling around them. After killing all of them, his javelins were emptied. He retreated, restocked, and marched to deal with their horse archers. While they were focused on his troops, Noah penetrated all of them from behind. More bandits were captured for recruitment, but then a Nordic lord stuck to our tail, forcing us to abandon all our prisoners to make our escape. After successfully evading him, I spotted Tunror of Skolderbroda, a mercenary clan from the north, leading 24 men, all of them veterans, tier 4 units packed with mail armor, 200 axes and javelins, and non-recruitable troops, exactly what we're looking for. We attacked him. The balance of power was looking disgustingly bad. Noah ordered his men to form a shield wall at the back, while he charged at the enemy, only to get one-shotted straight away. Then, the goddess of the sea gave him a second chance by seducing the god of time. This time, instead of charging, Noah bravely sat behind his soldiers while they tanked the enemy javelins, sacrificing themselves for the gain of their captain. Once all of them died, the Skolderbrodas had run out of javelins. Noah penetrated their shields and chests one by one, until he ran out of javelins as well. But retreating meant they would get to refill their stacks too, so Noah rushed to the corpses of his soldiers to loot the javelins from the enemy. 5 more throws later, the battle was won, and only 3 of our units had actually died. The mercenary and 5 veteran brodas were imprisoned. The loot was quite solid, upgrading our cape and sword while still leaving plenty to donate to the hideout. I put more focus points into stewardship. We need to max those intelligence skills as fast as possible, considering literally every army we face will have better equipment and higher tiers. Then I spotted another Skolderbroda party, the same size, the same tier, and the same strategy. Another horde of decent loot and prisoners. I ransomed one of the mercenaries for 3,000 dinars and finally reached the hideout. By donating everything we looted, our relationship with the Sea Raiders increased by 8. We still needed 2 more before being able to get their troops. I attacked a sturgeon patrol of 13. Now that Noah had 250 throwing and better armor, they couldn't pose any threat to us anymore. We looted a northern 2-handed mace, too slow for Noah's taste. But by donating it with the rest, we raised our relations with the raiders by 1. Only 1 more left. Then I spotted Vidar, a Sturgian noble, with a party of 42, mostly infantry. Noah positioned his soldiers at the back, as they wouldn't be any help anyway. First, he cleared the enemy cavalry. Then, he dealt with the infantry while dodging the javelins of their woodrunners until he ran out of ammo. When he refilled, only half of the enemy remained, but only 30% of his health. He circled around the woodrunners to waste their ammo. Then it was Noah's turn. Victory was ours. Noah finally had something to protect his handsome face. Then he needed to decide what to do with the bodies of his dead soldiers. He searched for dry wood to burn them, leaving him disorganized, even though there was another Sturgeon Lord chasing him. But before he reached, Noah executed the imprisoned Sturgeon Noble as a gift to his dear goddess. Then the second Lord attacked. Noah substituted his sword for another stack of javelins. The Sturgeon Lord was a horse archer, which Noah dealt with ease. Then it was time for his soldiers, whom he dealt with by outringing them thanks to his superior throwing skill. Another horde of decent loot, another execution. With one more donation, our relation with the Sea Raiders finally reached 10, making us allies. We sold some of the leftover loot to their black market, then took 30 Tier 2 Sea Raiders from the hideout and 20 more from wandering parties, totaling 50 men, but most of them equipped with utter shit. We needed to train them a bit. I spotted another Sturgeon Noble, leading 60 men this time. Again, mostly infantry. They positioned themselves atop a hill. Before the lines clashed, Noah made sure the enemy wasted as much ammo as possible. Then, while they were focused on his bandits, he cleared their archers with his javelins. He harassed their infantry with the help of his own javelin throwers, and finally finished them off once they became thin and fragile. 19 bandits upgraded. The Sturgeons had started hiring paid blades to deal with Noah, all of them highest tier. I tried to hide inside our hideout to evade them, but they just stood there, menacingly. Thankfully, they moved slower than an 83-year-old president. We easily escaped, then a Sturgeon Noble attacked the paid blades. I am very confused. Who the fuck even paid these guys then? Anyways, to show our gratitude, we attacked the weakened Sturgeon Noble and chopped her head off. Our crew was now strong enough to defend a ship. I set up a contact inside Belgard and sneaked into the town. While we are disguised, we cannot trade any items except ships. Does this make sense? Absolutely not. But thanks to this wonderful feature, we bought 2 light longships from our enemy for 30,000 and officially became pirates. With all 3 tasks complete, it was time for Chapter 2. Our goal is to make around 200,000 dinars to create the strongest ship, Noah's Ark. But right now, we had no money to even pay our bandits. We urgently needed to find someone to raid before our troops chained Noah and had their way with him. Our first victim, a Vlandian armed convoy. It was filled with convoy guards who had much better equipment than us. First, we sold our loot for 9,000. Then, we attacked the convoy to take it back. I ordered our second ship to skirmish while we rushed to board their right ship, but miserably failed and had to deal with 2 ships at around the same time. Noah's javelins became the decisive factor, and we managed to clear both crews. Meanwhile, our second ship had actually defeated their third ship. With 15 deaths, we emerged victorious. Many bandits upgraded. We took the convoy guards prisoner, as they are non-recruitable troops. The loot was succulent and humongous. We caught a second convoy and sold the loot for 12,000. Then again, we attacked to take it back. This time, we managed to deal with all the ships one by one. But our second ship was caught, resulting in 21 deaths. With only 27 men left in our crew, we had no choice but to sell the loot and return to land without taking it back. We sneaked into Gretisfjord and sold the ships we captured from the convoys. Then we returned to Belgard to refill our bandits from the hideout. It was time for the second round of piracy. Along the way, we encountered another paid blades party. The thing is, they didn't actually have any ships, and we won the battle as soon as it started. I guess they were just swimming, menacingly. Anyways, we continued hunting convoys, raising our roguery and mariner skills with each battle. After 2 naval battles, we were down to 30 men once again. We refilled our party, sold the captured ships, and returned to the sea. 2 more convoys were defeated. As our troops got upgraded, we started taking fewer and fewer losses during battles. We traveled to New Carbanset and disembarked on its shore. Captured ships were sold, and our ships were repaired and upgraded. But our enormous loot slowed us down significantly. Thanks to horses counting as weight at sea, this made us unable to catch caravans, which are our only trading source. And Vlandian lords were on our tail like bloody sharks. Baron Heckard managed to catch us with 160 men at his side, doubling our numbers, mostly crossbowmen, but because of his poor ships, he could only place 30 soldiers on each, while we had 50 on our main one. We quickly boarded their right ship and managed to clear it in seconds. Then we quickly cut loose and dealt with their remaining ships. thanks to the throwing stacks on the deck, Noah could one-shot someone every second infinitely, as long as his soldiers were there to cover him. The battle was won with only 16 deaths. The loot was decent, but the Lord had managed to escape. I guess he swam to the shore with all his steel plate armor. After selling the prisoners in Ostikan, an arena master came to Noah with a job offer for one of his Nord convoy guards. Noah sent the man in exchange for 10 renown. Then we traveled from village to village trying to sell our enormous loot. Inside Galant, I bought a trade cog to finally have enough cargo capacity at sea, which allowed us to start catching convoys again. Ships were raided, their loot was sold to other convoys, which were also raided, and the cycle repeated. After raiding 4 more convoys and selling the captured ships at Quiaz, we finally hit 200,000 dinars, completing the first task of this chapter. Now it was time to create Noah's Ark. I traveled from town to town across the Southern Sea to find the best ship available, refilling our party along the way, as sea raiders now had hideouts even in the south. After a bit of searching, I settled on Gurabs of Aserai, a heavy ship that can take up to 112 men and has all the upgrade slots available. I know Dromons might be considered a bit better, but even Imperial towns didn't have one in my game. And Gurabs are more than enough anyway. I bought all the most expensive upgrades except ballista and quivers, as Sanala didn't have what I was looking for, but inside Zonica I found them. 2 throwing stacks for the deck and a heavy iron ballista, excellent for sinking ships. Then I named it Noah's Ark. Now let's see what this naughty girl can do against a convoy of 3 damaged ships. By the way, you can't do this in your game. You would probably need to empty all your ballista shots before sinking just 1 damaged ship, as this is how Tale Worlds intended it to be. But I find boarding every battle to be quite fucking boring. It's basically just an infantry battle on a fully powered vibrator. So I modified the game files a bit to decrease the hit points of every ship by 60%, obviously including our ship as well. If you want to do the same in your game, go to Modules, the folder where you manually put your mods. Find the Naval DLC file, then Module Data, then Ship Hulls. Inside, you will find stats for every ship hull in the game. Just decrease the max hit points and max fire hit points to your desired number for every ship. You don't need to touch the ones that have storyline inside their IDs, and there isn't much to change after excluding them. You might feel like this breaks the balance when looking at the footage, but I would argue otherwise. These convoy ships are quite weak and already damaged, which makes them the easiest to deal with. The heavy ships of enemy lords are still quite hard to sink, since they still retain 40% of their hit points. And because they also have ballistas, this puts you in extra danger when they manage to hit. This change basically makes managing your ship's arsenal more important than the brute force of your troops. Lastly, watch out for storms, as they can destroy your light ships easily if you're not careful. Anyways, now for the next chapter, execution hunting until clan tier 4. Inside the Lake of Provand, we caught Fernhard and his fleet of 118. I ordered the second ship to skirmish to create a better angle for ramming the enemy. Again, these ships aren't our equal. I searched near the coast to find more lords, but none dared to touch the sea until the north, where we caught a Nordic lady named Difa. Even though I personally put a ballista boulder up her ass, Difa still managed to escape, just like all the other lords I defeated at sea. Unable to figure out why everyone suddenly became so slippery, I continued the hunt. Soon, I found a Sturgian and Nordic fleet fighting each other. Noah saw 2 possible executions. Delicious, he said. After the Nords beat the Sturgians, we attacked them. 4 tiny ships. Both were captured and executed. Then another Sturgeon lord was caught, carrying only 1 light ship. He was captured and executed as well by sneaking into Belgard. We sold the captured ships and prisoners. I searched for more, but for some reason, even the Nords preferred traveling on land. With no way to force a naval battle at this stage of the game, I disembarked and tried my luck with assassinations. I sneaked into Tronderlag, and by picking the From the Shadows option inside the Fourberie screen, I started the operation. There were 3 nobles inside the hall. I sneak attacked one of them, then defeated the rest with my sword, but only one of them was murdered. Though I was unable to comprehend it at the time, the kill is only guaranteed if you perform a sneak attack. Now, we couldn't sneak into Tronderlag for 10 days, so I continued the hunt from horseback. With so many horses in our inventory, thanks to recent battles, there was no way for the infantry-heavy Nords to evade us. Noah's javelins thinned the enemy, and our sea raiders finished the remnants. The Lord died during the battle. More Lords were caught. All executed. The hunt continued. But we were taking too many casualties when the enemy had a decent horde of archers. Sea raiders were great and all when you're at sea, but here, in the forests and dirt, we needed something more suitable. So, after hunting more lords and getting Noah a two-handed swingable polearm, I traveled to a forest bandit hideout and increased our relationship with the prisoners and our enormous loot. Then I took their tier 2 bushwhackers and trained against more North lords. The tier 4 forest bandits are actually quite strong for a bandit, using the same bow as the Fian champions, though with worse arrows, armor, skills and a shitty one-handed axe instead of a decent two-handed sword. We donated the prisoners to the hideout and restocked our party with more bushwhackers. From lord parties to deserters to villages, all slaughtered without much casualties thanks to our new archer units. After donating everything, our relationship with the forest bandits raised to 45, allowing us to build a safe house there, which is basically where you can enslave your prisoners for the mines. It can actually be really profitable if you put enough effort into it. You can even travel inside your safe house and hang out with the emissaries of different bandit factions. Anyways, lord after lord got defeated, some got executed, some died in battle. All the prisoners were sent to the mines to earn us some daily profit, and I put 16 tier 2 bandits inside the hideout as guards to make sure none of them escaped, achieving a daily profit of 1000 dinars. More Sturgeon and Nordic lords got defeated and executed, more villages raided, more lords caught, more prisoners to the mines. Then I realized I forgot to put any food into the hideout stash. 10,000 kilos of grain, fish and meat should be enough. The lords continued to get caught and shredded by our forest bandits. I changed the settings of Distinguished Service as it felt like it didn't work properly for bandit troops. Then, during one battle, a forest bandit distinguished himself by racking up enough kills. He was trained in roguery and tactics to become our spy master, and his name was Nico Adalit III. Next, we caught a Nord army of 200, weakened from a recent siege, composed of mostly low-tier infantry who got destroyed by our forest bandits. Another forest bandit got promoted to companion, Zelesko 6726, trained to lead a party. All 4 lords inside the army got captured and executed, but the next day, tragedy struck. Nico Adalit III got viciously murdered by the assassins of the Nords. Noah would never forget his sacrifice and would even name his children after him. Soon, another forest bandit got promoted, maybe Arcos, trained to become our new spy master. More bloodshed, then another companion. OG Deity 214, another party leader. The cycle repeated. More executions, more prisoners for the mines, more donations for the bandits. Eventually, some clans started getting destroyed as a result of our murder spree. Another bandit distinguished himself. A sea raider this time, named Center 1916 Ligia. More lords defeated. I made maybe Arcos our official enforcer for the hideout, then assigned half of the prisoners to serving instead of the mines, which increases hideout level daily and unlocks various upgrades, mostly for more profit from the mines in the future. Then the hunt continued. Another soldier distinguished himself, a Nord convoy god this time, named Drew Courtmanche Dauphin. And so, after 3 hours of grinding in total, which was mostly sped up 3 times thanks to RTSCamera and better time, we were finally close to clan tier 4, which would make us eligible to create a kingdom. Why not try to take a castle to reach it faster? Skartnes Castle, recently taken by the Sturgeons from the Nords, was weak enough for us to conquer with its tier 1 walls and 250 defenders. I launched the assault right after the preparations finished without building any siege engines and swapped my polearm and shield for 2 stacks of javelins. Then I positioned my infantry and archers close to the left side of the wall without letting them climb the ladders. With countless projectiles, we started clearing the walls without taking many casualties. Once Noah ran out of javelins, he picked up the axe and shield of one of his dead soldiers and ordered his infantry to charge. Then he evaded the enemy infantry with his shield and rushed straight to the archer tower to make use of the mangonel rocks. But he was knocked out before being able to get his hands on them. Still, now that the walls were weakened, our soldiers managed to clear it on their own. We won with only 29 deaths. We abandoned the project to raise as much militia as fast as possible, but right after we left the castle, another companion was murdered by the Nord assassins, maybe Arcus this time, our enforcer and spy master. Rest in peace, you brave, handsome man. More lords caught and executed, another soldier promoted to become our new spy master, Aladdin. Then the Sturgeons came to retake their castle with an army of 1000. With only tier 1 walls, it was neither realistic nor worth it to try to defend it. Instead, we returned to the hideout to refill our bandits. During all this action, our hideout had finally reached level 2 and was a few days away from level 3. And after donating our loot again, forest bandits reached their maximum power, 10,000. We continued hunting more lords. Our bandits demanded Noah let them avenge their comrades by killing the prisoners. Noah granted their wish. He was a proper pirate after all. After more battles, we finally reached clan tier 4. And somehow, the Sturgian army had failed to take our castle. I guess the Nords intercepted them or something. Anyways, it was time to form our kingdom, Confederation of Raiders of the Deep, fucking metal. Right after that, the Azrai offered to pay us 580 dinars daily for peace. Noah gladly accepted. Then the Northern Empire offered 690, then the Vlandians, offering a whopping 1120 dinars. I guess our name really puts fear into the hearts of the weak. But now that we became a kingdom, our friendship with the forest bandits ended and we needed to pay them 900 dinars daily to continue using their services, which is nothing compared to our mine's profit. 10,000 dinars, now fully leveled, with all the slaves working inside the mine instead of serving. Our castle was besieged again, and Zelasco was stuck inside it. We started building our army, giving OG Deity 100 troops to lead his own party. Then we restocked our own party with more forest bandits. We lost our castle. Then the Western Empire offered to pay 110 dinars for peace. Zelasco fortunately was neither dead nor captured. We recalled him to our party and traveled to Tronderlag to set sail. But right as we entered it, an assassin approached us. Instead of giving us a fair fight, he yelled at the guards and threw Noah into the dungeon. Not much of a problem. Noah got rid of his chains, slaughtered the guards, and made his escape. Then we returned to our Sea Raider hideout near Belgard and made peace with them as well, costing 740 dinars daily. With our donations, we raised their strength to 6,000 and took their troops. Then we gifted them to Baffy, another one of our party leader companions, to lead his own party. Then gifted another 100 men to Center 1916 Ligia. But the Sea Raider hideout ran out of men. After refilling our own party with forest bandits, our army totaled 550 men. Then we gave 30 tier 2 units to our enforcer to train them as saboteurs. Next, I bought 2 Drakars that can carry up to 100 men and 2 longships and gifted them to our companions. Then we raided Sturgeon villages to level up our army, which was filled with low-tier bandits and possibly could starve out Belgard's garrison. After 3 raids and discarding our loot for troop experience thanks to Noah's steward skill, our army was ready for a siege. But first, we needed to return to our safe house inside the forest bandit hideout to collect our saboteurs. Then we returned to Belgard again. With only tier 1 walls, 600 defenders, and being this close to our Sea Raider hideout, this town was the perfect candidate. We sacrificed the saboteurs to breach the wall. It was a success and we started the siege. I swapped a Noah's polearm for a berserker axe, as it was too long for foot combat. Then, after the preparations finished, we started the assault. I positioned all the archers close to the breach and put the infantry in a shield wall formation, somewhere safe, while we thinned the defenses. After throwing some javelins, Noah charged inside and reached the mangonel near the breach. I really love how there are many more firepots in the game now. We won the siege with 117 deaths. After clearing out the keep as well, we finally got our first town. All 6 lords inside the dungeon got executed. The Sturgeon army of 400 outside our gate was understandably too scared to attack. We refilled the army using the Sea Raider hideout and signed the Sacred Majesty Royal Guard, forgiveness of debts, and Imperial Town's policies to increase our daily influence, party size, and settlement loyalty. Inside Balgard, I paid 15,000 dinars to recruit 30 Tier 2 Lake Rats, another mercenary clan similar to Skolder Broda, just with another stack of javelins instead of a two-handed axe. Next, the Battanians offered to pay 740 dinars for peace. Then, a Sturgeon army of 400 came to retake Balgard. We assaulted their camp, and using the power of forest bandits and the shield wall of Sea Raiders, we won with 70 deaths. Both the Sturgeon lords and their crusade prisoners were executed, casualties were replaced, and the loot discarded for experience. The amnesties for pirates policy was signed, so pirates could start joining our garrison, assisting the holy purpose of our confederation. Then the Southern Empire offered 590 dinars for peace. Now we were at war with only the kingdoms in our area. Then we spotted a Sturgeon army and a Crusade army battling each other. We waited for them to finish and attacked the victor. The Grand Prince Raganvat was among them, alongside 9 more Sturgeon lords. By securing the high ground and putting our backs against the forest, we dealt with the first wave. Then their second wave retreated to the edge of the map. We charged. They fled shortly after. Victory was achieved with 60 deaths. 2 lords died in battle. Raganvat managed to escape. Only 5 lords were captured. I guess they threw the Crusade ones into the castle's dungeon. Disappointing. We laid siege to it. With only 170 defenders, it fell without much trouble. 2 Crusade lords inside the dungeon were executed. Then it was the turn of Vladiv Castle. Tier 1 walls, 200 defenders. Another easy victory. Then we caught another Sturgeon army of 400. With only 16 deaths, we emerged victorious. 3 more executions, resulting in the destruction of 1 clan. Shortly after, all 3 of our fiefs were besieged. Worst, we dealt with yet another Sturgeon army of 400. 4 more executions. Then we abandoned our second castle and rushed to Bolgard instead. It was besieged by a Nord army of 900, doubling our numbers. A field battle was out of the question. We got inside the walls by sacrificing 61 of our bandits. However, the wall we breached earlier still hadn't been repaired. Balance of power was looking terrible. A siege defense was also out of the question. Our only chance was sailing out from the port and forcing a naval battle. All 8 ship slots were unlocked thanks to our companion parties. But I still prefer to use 3 slots instead, so all of our soldiers stuck together inside our heavy ships. The enemy had 8 ships, ranging from 30 to 50 crew each. I made sure the ships of our companions stayed at the edge of the map to gain as much time as possible for Noah's Ark to do her magic. I sailed her to the right to have a better angle for ramming. After 3 ballista shots and a ram, an enemy light ship started to sink. Then the second ship, after a ram and 5 shots. But the third managed to board us. With his endless ammunition of javelins, Noah started clearing the enemy while the ships of our companions were getting destroyed at the back. Nords are no joke at sea. We finally managed to clear the third ship's crew, then boarded the fourth. After 20 or so javelin throws, it was cleared as well. But both of our companion ships were wiped out. 3 more enemy ships remained, but they had lost around half of their crew. After 4 ballista shots and an average ram, we managed to sink one of the ships. Then we rammed another ship and released our boulders. But right before it was about to sink, one of their soldiers tanked our last shot. leaving us no option but to board. Most of our crew were also wiped out, and only the low tier remained. But thanks to Noah's javelins, we managed to clear both crews. But there were 2 more enemy ships remaining with 3 crews. Noah jumped into the sea and swam to their ships. After 3 more javelins, well, actually 6 more javelins, the entire enemy fleet was cleared. But victory had cost us heavily. 200 of our soldiers were dead, and unfortunately, the enemy army consisted mainly of mercenaries, 3 Beni Zilal parties to be exact. So only 3 North nobles were executed. There is no point in executing mercenaries as they get replaced instantly as long as you don't kill all 4 at the same time. After our glorious victory, a bard came offering to create a song for our epic battle. Noah paid him 1000 dinars to make it as exaggerated as possible, earning 20 renown and 200 influence in exchange. Since we lost half of our army, the next days were spent refilling it with more sea raiders. Then another companion joined our crew, Siaba, a promoted Lake Rat mercenary. Since he was a Sturgian, we promoted him to a Jarl, gifting him Vladiv Castle. His clan name Mexiaba. Now the majority of Sturgeon and North nobles were dead. We made peace with the Khuzaits to lift the siege against our second castle. Shortly after, the Sturgeons came with another army. We wiped them out. One of the nobles died in the battle, the other 2 were executed. Then I snuck inside TL for another assassination operation. Four lords were inside the hall. We sneak attacked Svana, then dealt with all the guards and other nobles. The hall was covered with their corpses. 3 of them were murdered even though we only sneak attacked once. I guess it's chance based. The next days were spent answering the endless sieges of both the North and the Sturgeon armies over and over again. Now that most of their nobles were dead, it should at least take some time before they came up with another army. So I disbanded my own army and started hunting the wandering nobles alone. When the snowy mountains became empty and silent, I started sneaking inside Sturgian towns to continue the slaughter. It seems the safest bet is to start outside the town, kill the first guard, then hide his body outside the walls. No one seems to patrol around there. After defeating another Sturgeon army of 500, we breached the wall of Varnovapol with the saboteurs and laid siege to it. Then a random event popped up, offering us to breach the second wall by sacrificing 10 troops. Noah gladly accepted. Then he finally reached 275 medicine, increasing the health of his troops by 25, and more as it continues leveling. Then it was time to add another town to our confederation. A Lake Rat managed to get 20 kills during the battle. Probably he was the one I was controlling. His name Nikodalid IV, an extremely skillful party leader. Since he was also a Sturgian, we gifted him our second castle and promoted him to a Jarl. More nobles were hunted and executed. Then we traveled to a nearby mountain bandit hideout. After making a truce and donating all our loot, we started taking their troops and trained them against more Sturgian lords. Then, from an arena master, Noah learned there was a tournament in Tronderlag, meaning the keep would be filled with their nobles. So we quickly set sail towards it, but before sneaking in, an enemy assassin caught us. Noah was thrown into the dungeon again. He quickly escaped, but now we couldn't enter the town for 10 days, making us unable to make use of the tournament. While I was here, I threw more prisoners into our mines. Then I snuck inside Gretisfjord, but there were no guards at the gate, so I had to improvise. One more noble murdered. Then the Crusades declared war again, and another army of Nords besieged our Balgard. But our fleet was stuck inside Tronderlag, forcing us to wait for the gods to calm down before making our way back to our lands. But before we reached, the Nord army started their assault, making us unable to attack their blockade. I tried to disembark from the nearest shore, but before we could, the Nords managed to take Belgard. While waiting for the army to leave the town, we hunted more nobles around the area. Then we caught them. The army was left with only 250 troops. Putting the mountain bandits in a flanking position achieved us a victory with only 7 deaths. But while we were away, all of our companions had managed to lose their parties, so we recalled all of them and gifted 100 men to Zilasko and Baelor. Then we laid siege to Balgard. Unfortunately, the breached wall had been repaired for 1 health or something, making it unbreached and forcing us to wait for the trebuchets to be built. Balgar was ours once again. Then we disbanded the army again and continued hunting the lords alone again. And I just realized these mountain bandits are really freaking strong. Tailwords must have buffed the mounted skirmishers or something. The Crusades had managed to take our second castle, so we retook it. During the siege, another lake rat got promoted, perhaps Arcus. Then we gifted the castle back to Nico, but what was that? Both Siaba and Nico were starting to hate Noah. They weren't happy with our execution spam. These two seemed to be too honorable for the Confederation. We caught a Crusade army of 700 besieging our castle. By sacrificing 60 troops to get in, we successfully repelled the attackers. A Sea Raider managed to get a whopping 38 kills. 9 Crusade lords were captured and executed. The Sea Raider's name was Aldrich. I tried to promote him to a companion, but the game crashed. Then I tried again, and it crashed again. Then again. I don't know why, but it seems we cannot promote companions to nobles anymore. Well, this will make our job a hell of a lot more grindy. We breached a wall of tile and laid siege to it. Then another random event. A 60% chance of breaching the second wall or a 40% chance of slowing the siege progress. We lost the dice, but being recently taken by the Crusades, Tayal had no militia, and its garrison of 200 was defeated with ease. But as soon as we took it, Tayal rebelled against us. Egilting Castle was lost to the Crusades again. Then our other 2 fiefs were also besieged. This was starting to become really fucking painful. Then a notification popped up. Center 1916 Legia was lost because we couldn't promote Aldrich to a noble, resulting in reaching the companion limit. Well, that's a shitty way to go. Sorry bro, blame Tailworlds. The enemy armies were defeated one by one again. Then, in a 300 versus 300, we dueled Monchag. His horse archers stuck at the edge of the map were annihilated by our mountain bandits. They might be the strongest bandit troop ever. After chopping off Monchuk's head, Noah snuck inside Sibir and assassinated the queen of the Storgians. Now Raganvat's clan had only one little girl away from destruction, and the kingdom of Storgia was left with only 2 clans. Around Varchek, we caught the new queen. With her execution, only one clan was left in their kingdom. After donating our loot to a Sea Raider hideout near Omor, we accidentally declared war on the Northern Empire. I paid the innkeeper of Omor's tavern 500 dinars to learn more about the last remaining clan of Sturgia. 3 of them were babies, and 1 of them was a child, leaving us with only 2 nobles to hunt. While we were busy answering the sieges of the Nords, one of the Sturgian ladies died in battle on her own. Only one lord away from destruction. Then we found him around Varnovopol, but he was faster than us, managing to get inside his castle before we caught him. He was assembling an army with his mercenaries, but even after outnumbering us, he was still too shy to attack, running inside his castle the moment he spotted us. But after another mercenary joined his party, he was finally brave enough to confront us. By abusing the mountain bandits, we achieved another effortless victory. So, after more than 10 hours of grinding, Sturgia was finally destroyed in the year 1102. This also resulted in the destruction of their hired mercenary clans and all their remaining lands being transferred to us. This is completely random. It could have been transferred to any of their neighbors, but fortunately we got lucky. But while we were voting for the owner of the new fiefs, I realized something tragic. Nicodalit had died again, but at least it was during an honorable battle instead of in his sleep. Rest in peace again, King. Next, it was time to deal with the Nords and take over the entire North once and for all. First, I learned how many adult nobles we had to deal with via innkeepers. Then I started the assassination spree. By going back to each North town every 10 days, the assassination spree continued. Then an army of 600 was caught besieging one of our castles. We sacrificed 30 troops to get inside. The castle had a weird shape. I destroyed the ram with fire pots, then tried to deal with the attackers on the ladders. The problem was, no one was coming to help me other than the archers. It seems, if you don't give any commands, the infantry just stands behind the gate, even though the ram gets destroyed. So we gave everyone the charge command and repelled the enemy easily after that. Somehow, only one of the nobles was captured. Belgard was besieged by the Crusades. We ignored it and continued the assassinations. After miserably failing to assassinate their king, I started catching their noble parties again. Then tragedy struck once more. Siaba had died in battle as well, leaving his pregnant imperial wife all alone in this world. Rest in peace, giant. More assassinations followed. Then we found a North army besieging Belgard. The Crusades had failed to take it somehow. After destroying the army, 2 more nobles were executed. Then the hunt continued. Only 1 noble was left. But then I realized there were no clans left inside our confederation as well. other than Noah's, meaning Siaba's wife also died and their child was lost to history. For one final time, we snuck inside Tronderlag and assassinated their queen, and 2 hours after the destruction of Sturgia, Norvig was destroyed in the year 1105. Their lands were transferred to the Khuzaits, and we also lost Balgar to them. But it didn't matter anymore, as Noah's promise to Calypso was fulfilled. The Northern Sea had grown obese with all the corpses Noah sent, so Noah abdicated his crown, resulting in the destruction of our confederation. Then he traveled to the deserts in the south to find his goddess's mortal form. He found her inside an Aserai palace. They entertained each other's hearts before marrying in the year 1106. Noah spent the following years inside his palace in Omor. In the comforting embrace of his lover, he said he would choose the peaceful path from now on. In the year 1107, Calypso gave him his first child, Nicoadalid V, a male heir. Then another child in the year 1110, Nicoadalid VI, a disappointing female. Years passed as the lords of Calradia kept killing and executing each other, while the real beast was in hibernation. To break the monotony and do some fitness, Noah snuck inside various towns from various cultures to assassinate their lords without breaking his cover to avoid declaring war. More peaceful years passed. During this time, Balor and Aladdin died of old age. Then Noah's children started coming of age. We equipped them similarly to their father. But in the year 1130, Calypso, bored of Noah's neediness, left her mortal body to return to the seas. Noah, overflowing with sadness, didn't know what to do. He couldn't force a goddess to stay with him. But what if he slaughtered more than the North? What if he slaughtered the entire continent? Maybe then Calypso would become so satisfied that she never leaves Noah again. So he got to work. Entering the arena, he reset his perks in leadership to unlock veterans' respect, which allows bandit units to be converted into regular troops. You can call that cheating, but I call that character progression. After spending years inside the palace and learning the manners of the highborn, Noah now wanted a proper disciplined army instead of smelly thieves. Plus, I just wanna finally finish this campaign so I can move on to the next ones. Speaking of proper, it was time to declare Noah's authority again. But not as a confederation, rather as the Empire of Raiders of the Deep. We discarded our loot to transfer our bandits into regular troops. Our first victim, the Khuzaits. Assassination after assassination, we decreased their numbers further. Then we declared war and besieged Makab. After destroying both walls, we launched the assault while being outnumbered by more than double. Obviously, this battle would be impossible to win without changing that leadership perk. Then, I bought a reached Great Saber for Noah to replace his Berserker Axe, which was worse than the Saber in every way. Well, except for the cleaving ability, one of the Banner Knights was also promoted after racking up 15 kills. His name, Center 1917 Ligia. Shortly after, a Khuzite army of 1,200 came to retake the city. We sacrificed 50 troops to get in, then forced a naval battle by breaking their blockade. By the way, sorry for having so few sea battles in a pirate campaign, but it is really hard to find them when no lord travels by sea. Anyways, enjoy the battle. Victory earned us 7 executions. Then I tried to recruit some step bandits, but somehow they had already reached 10,000 strength on their own, making us unable to donate and raise our relations. Then another Khuzite party came to retake Makeb, but right before we could engage, our food stock was poisoned, wounding half of our troops. So, while the enemy prepared their siege, I ran around hunting more lords in the area, Noah's new sword cleaving through their Khan's guard. After killing their Khatun in battle, nuns came offering to heal our soldiers. I wish they managed to do more than 3 soldiers, but if we wanted to keep Makeb, this would have to do. By sacrificing 40 soldiers, we got inside the town. The assault had already started, so sailing out from the port wasn't possible. We had to defend it the old-fashioned way. Two more Khuzait lords were executed while defending one of our new villages from a raid. Perhaps Arcus died bravely. The following days were spent doing our usual grind, hunting the wandering lords and assassinating the ones who were too shy to leave their palaces. While we were chasing their last lords, OG Deity died of natural causes at the age of 77. Considering our settings, this is quite an impressive achievement. After a few more battles and assassinations, the Khuzait Khanate was destroyed in the year 1134. Their lands were transferred to the Northern Empire, but they weren't our next target. It was the Vlandians instead, who had declared war on us and managed to steal a few of our Sturgian lands while we were busy with the Khuzaites. After retaking them, we attracted a Vlandian army of 1000 into our web. Time for another big naval battle. During the battle, Zelasco died. He had reached the age of 80 and still managed to achieve a death worthy of Valhalla. His sacrifice wasn't in vain. All the Vlandians were executed, but instead of going after their remaining lords, I chose to go for the Battanians instead. With only 2 towns under their control, it seemed easier to destroy them via conquest instead of executions before they inherited the lands of their neighbors. But as soon as we declared war, mercenaries filled their ranks and they came after our arse with 800 men. We abandoned the siege and traveled to Omor instead to answer another Vlandian army. But during the battle, Noah's son, Nico Adalet V, died. Noah was devastated yet again. It feels like the name itself was cursed. At least, he still had his daughter. All the captured Vlandians were executed. We tried to lay siege to Carbanset again, but another Battanian army spawned instantly, so we accepted their offer of 200 dinars for peace instead and put all our focus on ending the Vlandians. So, the hunt began anew. After a magnificent sniping, the Vlandians were destroyed in the year 1137 and all their lands were transferred to the fucking Battanians. To not make the same mistake twice, I was determined to destroy the Western Empire, who had only 2 towns and 1 castle, before holocausting another kingdom. First, we laid siege to Ortysia, sabotaging its food stock and poisoning its waters. Then, we started building trebuchets to destroy the walls. The Western Empire quickly assembled an army, but was too scared to assault our camp. The city built their mangonels so fast that we had to rebuild our trebuchets over and over again. Days passed, but Tailworlds must have found something that would solve world hunger, as the garrison never starved. So I relied on destroying their mangonels repeatedly to thin their numbers instead. After their numbers dropped to 700, we launched our assault. After taking Ortysia, it was time for their castle. Then lastly, Rote. After capturing it, the Western Empire was destroyed, but an assassin attacked Noah. I tried to flex on him, but he almost managed to drop my health to 0, which is probably a guaranteed death. Then one of our banner knights came to Noah, asking for his help to discourage his daughter from marrying a thug from a back alley. Noah ordered his men to beat the ever-living shit out of the thug, forgetting he was once a thug himself. The palace really changed him. A few days later, Drew Kortemansch died of natural causes at the age of 67. We had now lost all the original companions, but Noah, now 74 years old, was still determined to keep going. After refilling our army, it was time to deal with the Aserai, who had already declared war on us. After their destruction, it was time to deal with the Imperials. But after a few executions, there was no party left to catch. No one was leaving their palaces, and I was too sick of doing assassinations over and over again. Then I realized all the alive nobles were over 70-year-old grandmas. Well, except for one Bethanian lady. But after seeing how absurdly well protected Sionon is, I left her alive for now. Instead, I decided to do a battle of aging. Noah had 2 medicine perks assisting him. One allowed him to have a chance to recover from diseases, the other gave him a guaranteed cheat death card. He doesn't smoke either. He should surely be able to outlast those grandmas, right? Wrong. In the year 1145, he caught a fatal illness at the age of 81. But trusting our 2 perks, I kept waiting for him to recover. 1 year later, he fucking died. So much for cheat death, I guess. I hope he joined his divine lover in the afterlife. Our only heir was his daughter, Nicoadalit 6. She equipped the armor of her dad, but lacked his skills in every department. She was 36 years old, but she could still die in battle with a medicine skill this terrible. So I tried to find her a husband to guarantee the survival of our clan, but the only noble male left was a 78-year-old imperial clan leader, unable to marry her. So we kept waiting. In the year 1149, all the members of the Southern Empire died of old age, resulting in its destruction. Then, the Northern Empire met the same fate in the year 1154. Now, all the lands belonged to Bethania. Under their High Queen Norina, she and Nico were the only nobles alive. 2 middle-aged women fighting over who gets to win everything the continent has to offer. Nico began her hunt. But Norina had superpowers or something, because she kept teleporting around the map. Or the encyclopedia is completely broken. Or this is another intended feature where painfully grinding our ass makes us immersed in the true medieval experience. We tried laying siege to lure her, but she didn't care. She had the whole continent in her hands after all. Then I hired every mercenary still alive in hopes that maybe they could catch her. Then, after mindlessly roaming around the western lands for 2 years, Nico finally found her. Nico stared at her pretty eyes before engaging in the final battle of the campaign. The High Queen died on the battlefield. After the victory, a priest came, asking to donate half the loot to the local shrine. Nico wasn't sure what the priests were going to do with that many weapons and armor, but what she did know was that she owed everything to her men. So she gifted them the silver and then traveled to her palace to enjoy all the power and wealth she fell upon, thanks to her father. And this was the story of how pirates conquered Calradia in 72 years. Or pirates who became disciplined warriors later. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much to all my channel members. Your support warms my tiny heart. Let me know what you want the next video to be, and I will see you all in the next one.